This video will be a discussion of the Tinkerer class in the Gloomhaven board game. The Tinkerer is primarily a support class with a large hand size that has an abundance of options for aiding allies as well as a number of AoE attacks. The few mechanics that are emphasized on the Tinkerer are heals, summons, and traps. In my opinion, the class doesn't have enough cards to enable the traps to be anything other than minor annoyances to enemy monsters. I think the best way to build the class is to go primarily for heals, summons, and AoE spells to give adequate flexibility. Summons in general are not consistent in Gloomhaven because the monster focus mechanic doesn't let you control their actions. However, I think the Tinkerer can include her summon cards because it's easy to pivot away, if needed, towards being more of a healer and AoE damage dealer due to your huge card count. Additionally, she's able to directly heal her summons if things get dicey. The core cards for damage output in this build centers around both of the damage dealing summons and auto turret. While individually 2 and 3 damage doesn't seem like much from each card, the great thing is that once they are active, we can stack the damage. With all 3 of these active, we are passively outputting base 7 damage each turn. Add on your own attacks and maybe stack a poison on top of that, and you have the potential to do more than 10 damage per round. That being said, summons have a difficult time staying alive, so I would recommend waiting until the last room to set your boss loose. Until then, the summon cards have a very good non-loss effects on the bottom, which is why I think this build works. If you are forced to use the cards only as summons, I think it would be less viable. This class also gets good AoE abilities as losses, so if you find yourself in a situation where the AoE abilities are better in a given situation, opt out of using the summons as losses for that scenario and focus on healing. The Tinkerer actually gets some of her best cards at level 1, so we're going to keep a good amount of them throughout leveling. I like Enhancement Field and Reinvigorating Elixir for their utility, and Ink Bomb and Net Shooter for their AoE damage and movement on the bottom. Stun Shot also has a move 4 on the bottom and Reliable Disable. Here are the cards I would take at each level. Level 2. I'm taking Stamina Booster for the heal. Disorienting Flash can stun 2 enemies, but it isn't associated with any damage. Because we plan on using our AoE attacks as losses, I think Disorienting Flash isn't good enough to replace our damage dealing loss cards. Level 3. I'm not a huge fan of either of these cards because they're both very situational. I'm honestly looking at Crankbow mostly because it has move 4 on the bottom, and the Tinkerer doesn't have that many good movement options. Tinker's Tools has very situational options on both the top and bottom. Level 4. Dangerous Contraption is a card we want for our overall build. It also gives us move 4 on the bottom, which is really nice. Microbots is a double loss which we want to avoid in general. Level 5. Disintegration Beam has both a great top and an extremely useful bottom that helps extend the life of our allies. Noxious Vials is situational in my opinion, but the AoE bottom loss is unique and can find a place in a more AoE focused build. Level 6. We take Auto Turret as part of our overall build. Gas Canister has another trap effect which is situational, especially at level 6. Level 7. At level 7, I'm taking Murderous Contraption as part of the overall build. This card also has a very good bottom attack which is generally useful. Curative Aerosol is useful because it combines both a heal and move on the top, which is actually really good for the Tinkerer, as this is the first top move card she has as well as allowing for a separate bottom action. We might be able to take this at level 8. Level 8. Both Harsh Stimulants and Jet Propulsion are situational cards that don't fit into the support build. Jet Propulsion works with our summons, but simply moving them around for targeting purposes is underwhelming as a top action. I suggest going back to level 5 or 7 for Noxious Vials or Curative Aerosol. However, neither of these cards will be included in my final build. Level 9. Chimeric Formula is very situational, but Lethal Injection has an insta-kill effect that's always good. I'm in favor of Lethal Injection unless you can identify a combo with your teammates to justify Chimeric Formula. At level 9, my cards are Enhancement Field, Ink Bomb, Net Shooter, Reinvigorating Elixir, Restorative Mist, Stun Shot, Stamina Booster, Dangerous Contraption, Disintegration Beam, Auto Turret, Murderous Contraption, Lethal Injection. Although Lethal Injection makes the final build, I have to give a shout out to Toxic Bolt, which I think would be included all the way up until level 9.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.